In the heart of New England's countryside, paranormal enthusiasts are making the pilgrimage to Vassalboro, Maine. The foliage presents a kaleidoscope of crimson, auburn, and orange as we travel to an old small mill town steeped in mystery and folklore. Tales are told of spirits said to prowl throughout the building, but today, the massive mill will play host to more than just spirits and specters and will open its doors to an annual convention. This convention is Parafest, Maine, and this is the Paranormal Mill.
There's a lot of death, and there's a lot of aging.
It's that time of year again. Parafest, Maine fills Vassalboro's behemoth facility with life. Paranormal investigators, vendors, and curious crowds all bonded by the intrigue of the unknown. Special speakers conduct lectures, and workshops are being held. Established in the mid-1800s, the Vassalboro Mill, purchased by Ray Brenton in the early 2000s, maintains a storied history, one full of tragedy and triumphs. We could spend years covering that history, but today we seek the answer to this question. Is this mill haunted?
The paranormal couple will be doing a lecture in the lecture room over here.
Again, my name is Cody. This is Satori here, and we are known as the Paranormal Couple. We have a museum that we curate.
We travel to different events, bringing some objects with some really spooky stories, and we like sharing those stories with the public. And everything in the museum has been donated by clients, people that claim that they had this object at one time and it was having paranormal activity, so they gave it to us to display, and we show it off to the public.
We're also featured on a television show called Ghost Hunters, which Satori's dad started.
My father is Jason Haas, who founded CAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society, in 1990. About 2004, a show called Ghost Hunters started, and I'll be honest, I don't think him or anybody thought it was going to take off the way it did.
Our first item was actually a painting that was passed down in your family, and that kind of started fueling our interest in paranormal and haunted objects. And then from there, as we started getting more known, people were donating their items to us to take care of because they felt that they couldn't. And since then, it's blown up, and now we have over 400 items in our museum and growing.
Browsing the content of the Haunted Museum certainly does leave a lingering feeling of spiritual energy attached to many of their items, presenting a strong case for the spirits attending the mill as guests. However, it still does not solve the mystery of whether or not the mill itself is host to permanent paranormal activity. With so much talk about a tunnel underneath the mill, maybe this could be a great starting point.
The dam that had the canal off from, that one has the canal that came down into the parking lot, and it drops 2 stories underground, and then you walked into the pipe that we call it the tunnel. That's the pipe that supplied the water to the turbine. But at that dam site, there were 32 drownings in a 100-year period. And so you have a lot of energy over there. And I've been out at night, like 2 o'clock at night, doing a little surveillance work and being parked nearby and listening, and you swear everybody's there, the kids are there, you can hear them laughing and playing, and it's like there's nobody you can see with your eye. And this is 2 o'clock in the morning, but you swear you got a whole class of kids there.
Wow, 32 drownings in less than 100 years. And did he say you can hear kids laughing and playing? I think we need to hear more about that. But first, I noticed a bunch of spiritual communication devices. The booths are full of fancy tools like spirit boxes and EMF meters. But what caught my eye was something I think a lot of us played with as kids. The classic and nostalgic spirit board.
Oldest board we have in my museum is my 1891. Then we got 1919. This one is the 1912, 1919 Canadian version, 1919 American version. And all these are from the 40s. Both of them are made by the Haskell Company. This one right here is made by the Swami Cardinal Company in Brooklyn, New York. I also make the round ones myself. And then also right here, I think is the coolest bit. We have the world's smallest, what was the world's smallest. Now, we have a new world's smallest that's made in the UK. I've never tried the world's smallest one yet. The bog board is definitely interesting. A little bit of history about it. Supposedly it was made by a serial killer, and that's how he communicated with his victims. I like, you'll have this one. Oh wow, that's like a butcher block. The thing is, someone goes, hey, I could turn that into a cutting board. You sure can.
I spent a lot of time as a kid playing with my Ouija board, I know that. I had no idea that spirit boards had such a storied history. Speaking of no idea, you never know who you'll run into at a convention like this. As soon as we left Jeff's Traveling Boards of Wonders, we ran into another television personality.
Ryan LeBlanc, I'm on Expedition Bigfoot and Paranormal Caught on Camera. Okay. That's the general area where it's been a blast chat with everybody about Bigfoot experiences and UFOs, so it's been fun.
I want to check back in with Ray about the previously mentioned children, but I think we have time to chat with another organization presenting today.
My name is Matt Warner. Justin Doug. And we are part of Warner Paranormal Explorers and Warner Paranormal Preservation Society. This is our third year up at Parafest, Maine. It's our favorite convention. I make sure to come up here every single year. What we've gotten into with the Preservation Society is we work with a location in Rockland, Massachusetts called Hartzell Hall. And we work towards historic preservation and restoration. We hold paranormal events and others to bring in funds and put it back into the building for future generations to enjoy.
Warner Paranormal Explorers brought up an excellent point regarding preservation. As we saw while exploring the mill, like many other historic sites, the structure has seen better days. Ray and the mill director, Samantha Lassard, work year-round to raise funds for mill repairs. The roof has been a particular struggle, as water leaks into buckets that they manually have to empty. Walking around, it's evident how many repairs need to be done. And when checking out the lower level of the mill, we overheard a story about an incident in an elevator.
If it's a big elevator shaft, actually has had someone die in it. What Ray was saying. That's the shaft that comes from up there all the way down. Someone fell in the shaft and died.
So that's the elevator. And you push down. Sounds like push down, but that's.
As we found out later from Ray, this wasn't the only elevator mishap. It seems like the more we look around, the more we start to get a feel as to what makes the mill so full of posthumous energy. Speaking of energy, the mill is full of guests today, but we still haven't necessarily witnessed any permanent residents. We have seen items presented and items for communication. It's now getting later in the day, but we had to stop and chat with somebody who knows a bit about the darker side of the paranormal world.
My name is James Anito. I am a demonologist, a deacon of the United States Old Catholic Church, and a paranormal investigator and researcher. I bring to the table 16 years of paranormal investigating experience. I'm also a demonologist that has come from the Warren lineage. I've blessed Annabelle. I've been around the Warren's Occult Museum, and I've worked with the Johnson brothers the original investigators of the Conjuring House in Harrisville, Rhode Island.
I sure hope we don't encounter anything demonic in the mill, but if we do, we know who to contact. Now, back to what I think is likely more innocent than demonic souls, and that's the children laughing and playing we heard about from Ray earlier. It just so happens that others are familiar with the children. But why are they here?
They were 10 and 11 years old working the mill. And there's pictures out front of them. You see some of the kids, they were bobbing kids. They'd have them on, putting in the spools and stuff like that. So you have, those kids, there are a lot of kids around, and people that here at night for the night, they'll come back and say, there was a kid down that corridor walking back and forth, and they see him or hear him. At night this place comes alive.
There's children down here that play tag and hide and seek. The building next door is where the captain is.
This past month, one of my tenants had a friend that was going to stay over in the apartment. I have a 6-unit apartment. And they went out to have a cigarette, and they could hear these kids laughing, playing, and it sounded like in the playground.
There is children that play hide and seek and tag through these pillars.
Oh, it's not just one.
It's not just one, there's multiple. They have seen 3 or 4 of them through this area playing tag and hide and seek.
The building next door used to be a schoolhouse, a big schoolhouse, and they used the fields to play in.
Inadvertently, we stumbled upon 2 children at a workshop who had been communicating with these young spirits.
Can you take a step away from the flashlight, please? Please? Give time.
Try one more time. We get you to shut that flashlight off one more time.
Okay. You're the little girl we were communicating with. Yeah, go. Told you. If you turn the flashlight on, she wants the rest. Okay.
There's a whole bunch of kids here.
Everyone